Thought I'd do this live video on Facebook again for my next segment of Stony Raw. Wait to hear a little bit for people to show up. Give them about 30 seconds. See if anybody tunes in. This will be posted on YouTube after I download the live feed. So stay tuned as I wait for a few people to check in for the next segment of Stony Raw. So hold on for just a couple seconds. Here, I'm trying to find decent music. All right. Don't even know what that is. Hopefully it's not too loud. Here we go. Cambio, what's up, Cambio? Michelle, I don't know who's still on. I see two people on. All right, segment, Stony Raw. Let me go back. We left off, Trino, my BF, my brother from another mother. Talked a little bit about that part of my life and moving to Sunnyvale and how I met Trino. So my next segment is actually called George Visitation. So what that means to people that haven't watched the previous versions of this is George is my dad number 2, George Root. So up until this point, I haven't, hey mom, my mom's on, hey mom. Up until this point, George hasn't been a big part of my life for quite a while. Issues between mom, dad, stepdad, whatever you want to call it. But I'm with Roger as dad number 3 now, and George hasn't been part of my life for a while. But somehow with our movements back and forth between California, Colorado, we reconnected with George. I don't know all the timing of that. Adam's now starting to come into my life a little bit. As you heard in the previous videos, George had taken Adam, and we had no idea where he was for quite a while. And so, I wasn't really raised with him for some time. He's my half brother. We have the same mom, different dad. But Adam is living with George. George has a wife, Mary, and her daughter, Tammy. So we had a little blended family thing going on there. George is the one who adopted me and how I became Stony Root. So again, if you guys aren't what's going on, the previous ones, that'll kind of confuse you a little bit. But at this point, and I'm Stony Root. And, George is now kind of back in my life. And I remember visitation, going back and forth. I would spend weekend there, weekend at home, weekend there. That went on for quite some time. And then Adam, beginning to spend some time at our place. And so you had this whole back and forth shifting of kids around for a while. George, again, didn't think I was going to grow up, as the story goes that I'm told, when things separated. George didn't see me being anything other than, let's put it out there, just what Mexican, I wasn't going to grow up to do anything, wasn't going to grow up to be anybody. Story says, again, I'm too young to remember any of this, but I've been told that, Adam was the one that was the chosen one. He was going to go far and do things, and I was going to amount to nothing. And that's kind of how I was treated. So I kind of believe that he meant that. So during this time when George was back in my life, I started doing the visitation every other weekend type of thing, and got to spend time with him and Mary. And I would say mostly it was Mary. George was even then was non-existent, meaning he didn't really participate. Mary controlled everything. Mary was the one who set the rules. Everything was Mary, Mary, Mary. So it was really, I was spending time with Mary and my stepsister and half brother, and not with George. And he's supposed to be my father, but he wasn't really there even when I was on visitation. At that point, George and Mary were really into hot rods and doing the whole car scene thing, and that's where George spent most of his time, was in the garage. And so if you weren't in the garage trying to do something with him, then you weren't involved. And then when you did get involved, you got yelled at, so you didn't want to get involved. So just a little bit of a vicious circle. So we spent time with Adam, and Adam and I didn't always get along. So I was picking on him, he was picking on me, and then you add Tammy to the mix, and you got Mary, this little Italian lady, pissed off at everybody, yelling at kids, and so just yell, 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 yell. It was just interesting times. So sometimes I was glad just to go back home. So this continued for a while, this back and forth thing, and then at some point, I don't remember the exact year. I just started to question why I'm going to go see my father when I'm not seeing my father. I'm seeing his wife. I'm seeing Mary. I'm trying to read this here at the same time. So about this time, a year, 2 year period of time, when I started to feel these things, I'm going to have a little segment later that talks about this as well. But I think I ended up changing my name from Root to Meager, and I think that's when things between George and I really started to slip up, because he didn't like the fact that I changed my name. But then again, he wasn't there to really be the father anyway. So to my point, what difference does it make? So I ended up not going on visitation after a while and decided I don't want to do it anymore. There's no point. I don't want to go visit Mary. I want to visit my dad, build that relationship. Even at that young age, I'm probably 10 or 11 at this time. It's you want that affection from your father. And, so now George's dad number 2, Roger's dad number 3. I'm really looking for that father figure to step into my life and be that role. So I've got father number 3 is Roger is playing that role. My original father, nobody knows where the hell he is. He's in Colorado somewhere, but he's not existent in my life. George checked out and didn't really, it was almost like an obligation, as if he was going to pay child support, he was going to make me see him. But it doesn't mean he has to spend time with me, and that's kind of how it seemed, in those younger years. Now, things changed later in life, but for a long time there was a lot of resentment and a lot of anger built towards my men in my life. With Frank was I was too young to make a difference, and George, there was definitely some anger issues, and I don't know if I want to say separation or deserted type issues, but I didn't really have that strong father figure, and Roger was the one filling that role. So that became stronger and stronger and stronger as time went on, as Roger filled that role. And it's kind of where we are. So I, at this time, I'm not seeing George very much. In the process now, getting my name changed from Root to Meager. And, we lived over off Birch for a couple of years now. And, I would say, again, going back to the kind of stability of my life, this is the first time that, things are starting to become stable as I move from one house to another house, but I still have the same man in my life. Now we've been in this place for a few years. So, we're starting to build some roots, and no pun intended. Start to build some roots in the neighborhood and get a foundation built. But it wasn't because of Root, so don't confuse the two. It now is starting to feel a little bit more like a family. Is now maybe this is when things are going to start to turn around and be better. Where I don't feel abandoned, or don't feel like I don't belong, or feeling like I'm the outsider. I think a lot of things for me turned into always felt like the outsider. Even today, I feel like the outsider at times. And I think a lot of that is deep ingrained is, I struggle to find, where I fit in sometimes. Maybe that's why I jump around in a lot of things that I do and interests I have, as I'm looking for that home. Don't know, just kind of, I guess, psychoanalyzing myself. Not qualified to do that, but maybe that's what I'm doing. So for this segment, Stony Raw will be uploaded to YouTube probably tomorrow sometime. You can go to my YouTube channel under Stony Raw and see all the previous videos up until this point. For you guys that have missed this is a video autobiography I've been working on a book for a long time and kind of stopped working on it, and now I'm doing my Stony Raw segment. So it's Stony Raw, and the video autobiography is called My Three Dads. And as you watch these videos and follow along, you'll see where that all makes sense. So I think I'm going to do the Facebook Live thing and then post to YouTube when I do these. And I just got to find the right time. Is 8 o'clock a good time? 7 o'clock? Feel free to add comments in there. Make sure for the live videos you click follow, so you click get notified, so that way you're notified when I go live. Most of my live video stuff is going to be on this now, so a lot of the other stuff will kind of fall off to the wayside. But maybe you'll learn something about me and what I'm about, and that's what this whole thing about these video series is. One, it's my autobiography, but it also, I'm hoping this is going to help somebody else that may be having some of the same issues, have gone through the same thing. So kind of putting myself out there, and this is where we are. So YouTube, Stony Raw, or watch these videos when they go live. Turn on to get notification, and that's about it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm going to leave with one of my favorite artists. Hold on. This one's right here. Eddie Money. Thanks to my brother Russ. Still a big fan and love all of his music. So I will leave on Eddie Money, and until next time. See ya.